June 6, 2013. Every screen inside NSA headquarters turns blood red. A classified slide marked PRISM just leaked, exposing how Google, Facebook, and Apple secretly feed your data to the government. Yesterday, another bombshell. The NSA logs every Verizon phone call. 120 million Americans, tracked like criminals. The world's most powerful spy agency, $10 billion budget and 30,000 employees, just got exposed by one person. A 29-year-old that forced the United States government to admit it lied to 300 million Americans. 7 years later, a federal court declared the NSA's entire operation illegal. The judge's verdict: intelligence chiefs were not telling the truth. But how did a junior IT guy access the crown jewels of American intelligence? Why did he risk his life, his freedom, everything to tell you the truth? The answer starts 3 months earlier, in a windowless room where something impossible was about to happen. Spring 2013, Oahu, Hawaii. Paradise, right? Palm trees swaying, tourists sipping Mai Tais, perfect 78-degree weather. But inside a concrete NSA facility, Ed Snowden sits in artificial light, downloading the unthinkable. He's supposed to be nobody special, just another IT contractor for Booz Allen Hamilton, one face among thousands with a security badge. At 29, he looks younger, almost forgettable, the kind of guy you'd pass in the hallway without a second glance. That's exactly why nobody noticed what he was doing. Every morning, Snowden badges into his windowless office, types his password, and watches the digital lives of millions flow across his screen. Not just metadata, not just phone numbers, actual emails, real conversations, your Amazon purchases, your Google searches at 2 a.m. That embarrassing medical question you typed and deleted. It's all there. He discovers PowerPoint slides so classified that most of Congress doesn't know they exist. One slide, titled PRISM, lists every tech giant you trust as a data provider. Another diagram labeled Upstream shows the NSA literally cutting into undersea internet cables, copying everything that flows through them. But the tool that makes his blood run cold is called X-Keyscore. The training manual brags it captures nearly everything a typical user does on the internet. Want to know what your ex-girlfriend is doing? Type her email. Boom! Instant access to her entire digital life. No warrant needed. 3 weeks earlier, March 2013, Snowden watched something that changed everything. The Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, sat before Congress. A senator asked him, "Does the NSA collect any type of data on millions of Americans?" Under oath, Clapper answered, "No, sir," not wittingly. Snowden stared at his screen. He was looking at absolute, undeniable proof that Clapper just committed perjury. The NSA wasn't collecting data on some Americans. It was collecting data on everyone. Your calls, your texts, your location, all of it, stored in massive data centers in Utah, searchable forever. Night after night, Snowden can't sleep. He's sworn an oath of secrecy, signed papers that could put him in prison just for telling his girlfriend what he does. But what he's witnessing feels like watching a crime in slow motion. The NSA's mission is to protect America from foreign threats. Instead, it's treating every American like a threat. The thought that breaks him is simple. What if his young nephew grows up in this world? A world where every text, every call, every mistake is recorded forever. Where the government knows more about you than you remember about yourself? By late May, paradise feels like a prison. Snowden makes a decision that will either make him a hero or a traitor, depending on who's writing history. He starts transferring classified documents onto encrypted drives. Not randomly, carefully, each file chosen to prove one thing: your government is lying to you. But two questions haunt him. Who would believe a nobody contractor over the entire US intelligence community? And even if someone did believe him, would anyone care enough to do something about it? January 2013. 4 months before the world changes, Snowden sends his first encrypted email. He creates an anonymous identity and reaches out to Laura Poitras, a documentary filmmaker the government already has on a watch list. His message is cryptic. I have something you need to see. She almost deletes it. Another conspiracy theorist with proof of government secrets. But something about the technical sophistication catches her attention. This person knows things, real things, about encryption that most hackers don't. Next, Snowden contacts Glenn Greenwald, a Guardian journalist who writes like he's personally offended by government overreach. But Greenwald can barely use email, let alone encryption. So what does a desperate whistleblower do? He literally makes a YouTube tutorial, encryption for dummies, and sends it anonymously. For weeks, nothing. Greenwald ignores the videos. Too complicated, too much hassle. Until Poitras calls him, "You need to take this seriously. This is real." By May, they agree to meet. But where? Snowden chooses Hong Kong, a legal twilight zone between China and the West. He tells his girlfriend he's going on a business trip, kisses her goodbye, knows he'll probably never see her again. On May 20th, 2013, Snowden boards a flight with 4 laptops and one ridiculous prop, a Rubik's Cube. He'd told Greenwald, "You'll recognize me. I'll be the one holding a Rubik's Cube." Like something out of a Cold War novel. On June 3rd, at the Mira Hotel lobby, Greenwald spots a kid because that's what Snowden looks like, a kid fiddling with the cube. This can't be him, Greenwald thinks. I was expecting someone who looks like they've seen some shit. This guy looks like he fixes printers. But in room 1014, that printer-fixing kid opens his laptop and shows them the impossible. A secret court order from April 2013. Verizon must hand over all phone records to the NSA. Not some, all. Every call you've made since 2006, stored in a searchable database. Greenwald's hands shake as he reads it. This is it. Proof the government is spying on everyone. The next one, the PRISM slides. Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, every company that swears your data is private. All of them are feeding information directly to the NSA. That private Facebook message to your ex? The NSA has it. That deleted Gmail draft where you vented about your boss? They have that too. Then Snowden shows them upstream. "This is where it gets scary," he says, pulling up a diagram. The NSA has physically tapped into the fiber optic cables that carry the internet. Every email that crosses the Atlantic. Every Skype call that bounces off a satellite. They're copying all of it, storing it, searching it later. But X-Keyscore is the nightmare. One slide shows an NSA analyst's screen. They've typed in someone's email address. Instantly, the system pulls up everything. Emails, passwords, credit card numbers, nude photos, medical records. Any analyst can do this, Snowden explains. To anyone. No oversight, no warrant, just curiosity. The journalists work 18-hour days, verifying documents, writing stories that will detonate like bombs. Snowden barely sleeps. He knows the NSA's hunters are already mobilizing. Every day he's free is borrowed time. After 5 days, the first story is ready. Greenwald's finger hovers over send. Once this publishes, there's no going back. The most powerful intelligence agency in history will know they've been exposed. They'll come for Snowden with everything they have. "Do it," Snowden says. "Click." In 12 hours, the world will wake up to proof that George Orwell was an optimist. But will anyone even care? And when the NSA realizes what happened, how long before they find the source? June 5th, 2013, 6 p.m. Eastern. The Guardian's website crashes from traffic. The headline, "NSA collecting phone records of millions of Verizon customers daily." Within minutes, every major news network breaks into regular programming. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all showing the same classified document, all asking the same question, is this even legal? June 6th, the PRISM story drops like a nuclear bomb. The Washington Post and Guardian publish simultaneously. Those familiar logos, Google's Rainbow G, Facebook's Blue F, Apple's Bitten Apple, arranged under top secret stamps. The companies you trust with everything are partners in mass surveillance. Mark Zuckerberg releases a statement. "We've never heard of PRISM, The leaked documents say otherwise. Someone is lying, and everyone knows it isn't Snowden. James Clapper. Remember him? The guy who lied to Congress? Goes on TV looking like he hasn't slept in days. He calls the leaks extremely damaging to national security. When asked about his false testimony, he fumbles. I responded in what I thought was the most truthful, or least untruthful manner. General Keith Alexander, the NSA director, testifies before Congress. Sweating through his uniform, he insists these programs stopped 54 terrorist attacks. Reporters immediately fact-check. The real number? 0. The phone dragnet never stopped a single imminent attack. Not one. Meanwhile, more leaks surface daily. Boundless Informant, a tool showing the NSA collected 3 billion pieces of intelligence from US computers in 1 month. Then comes international fury. German Chancellor Angela Merkel discovers the NSA tapped her personal cell phone. Brazil's president finds out her emails were intercepted. 35 world leaders, allies, not enemies, all surveilled by America. Diplomatic relationships that took decades to build crumble in days. June 9, 2013. The biggest twist yet. Snowden reveals himself in a video that will be watched 50 million times. He sits in his Hong Kong hotel, calm as a lake, and says, "I'm Edward Snowden. I'm 29 years old. I worked for the NSA. I'm the source." The internet explodes. Snowden trends worldwide. Half of Twitter calls him a hero. The other half wants him hanged for treason. News anchors can't believe it. This kid, this nobody, just declared war on the most powerful surveillance apparatus ever built. Within hours, the US charges him under the Espionage Act, the same law used to prosecute spies in World War I. The charges: theft of government property, unauthorized communication of defense information, willful communication of classified intelligence. The sentence? Death. In Hong Kong, Snowden's hotel is surrounded. Journalists, tourists with cameras, and almost certainly intelligence agents. He checks out on June 10th, disappears into a safe house. The US pressures Hong Kong. Arrest him. Now. Hong Kong stalls, claims paperwork issues. Behind closed doors, China is making calculations. What's more valuable, one whistleblower or embarrassing America? But time's running out. Every hour Snowden stays free makes the US look weaker. The world's watching a real-time chase between David and Goliath. But Goliath has drones, satellites, and infinite resources. How long can one man with a laptop stay ahead of that? And where in the world can you hide from a government that sees everything? June 23, 2013, 5 a.m. Hong Kong International Airport. Among hundreds of passengers boarding Aeroflot Flight SU-213 to Moscow, one carries no luggage except fear. Edward Snowden, holding a passport that won't be valid in 3 hours, walks past security cameras that definitely recognize his face. The US State Department is screaming at Hong Kong authorities, "Stop that plane." Hong Kong officials respond, "What plane? We have paperwork problems." Translation: China just gave America the middle finger. The plane takes off. Snowden is airborne, technically nowhere, belonging to no country, exactly where he needs to be. The plan, crafted by WikiLeaks' legal team, is brilliant in its simplicity. Fly to Moscow. Don't enter Russia. Stay in international transit. Catch a connecting flight to Ecuador, maybe Iceland, somewhere without an extradition treaty. But this plan assumes one thing, that the US government will play by the rules, which is a stupid assumption. At Sheremetyevo Airport, Moscow, the moment Snowden lands, the US cancels his passport. Not suspended, canceled. He's now legally stateless, a person who doesn't exist. He can't enter Russia, no passport. Can't leave, no passport. Can't even buy food, credit cards frozen. For 40 days, Snowden lives in an airport, sleeps in chairs designed to prevent sleeping, eats vending machine food, wears the same clothes for a week. Russian kids take selfies with that spy guy. Meanwhile, the world's only superpower is pulling every string, threatening every ally, burning diplomatic bridges just to grab one man. On July 2nd, 2013, the most insane thing happens. Bolivia's presidential plane, carrying President Evo Morales, gets forced down in Vienna. Why? Someone spread a rumor Snowden might be on board. France, Spain, Italy, and Portugal suddenly closed their airspace to a presidential aircraft. That's like forcing Air Force One to land because you think someone suspicious is aboard. It's unprecedented. It's arguably illegal. But it happened. Austrian officials board the plane. Search it like common criminals looking for drugs. No Snowden. Just a humiliated president of a sovereign nation. Morales later says, "This was kidnapping. If they did this to me, imagine what they'll do to him." On August 1st, 2013 happens the plot twist nobody saw coming. Russia grants Snowden temporary asylum. Not because Putin loves whistleblowers. He definitely doesn't. But because embarrassing America is worth more than American friendship. Snowden finally walks out of the airport wearing the same t-shirt he wore 40 days ago, into a country he never planned to live in. President Obama cancels a summit with Putin. The US media goes ballistic. He's a Russian spy now. Except he's not. He's just a guy who ran out of airports. Russia isn't his choice. It's his only option. The alternative is a black site prison or worse. But here's the cost. Snowden will never see his family again, never return to his country, never have a normal life. He traded everything for one thing: the truth. Was it worth it? And more importantly, what happens when the world's most powerful intelligence agency decides to make an example of someone? The aftermath splits into two realities. In one, Snowden is a traitor who helped terrorists and betrayed his country. In the other, he's the Paul Revere of the digital age, warning that the surveillance state is already here. Both realities exist simultaneously, depending on which news channel you watch. But facts don't care about opinions. Within 6 months of Snowden's revelations, measurable changes happen. Tech companies, terrified of losing customers, implement end-to-end encryption. WhatsApp, used by 2 billion people, makes every message unreadable to anyone except sender and receiver. Apple designs iPhones that even Apple can't unlock. The NSA's own leaks just made surveillance infinitely harder. President Obama, who once promised the most transparent administration in history, is forced to admit there's a problem. January 2014, he gives a speech that sounds like Snowden wrote it. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. He announces reforms, creates oversight boards, pretends this was the plan all along. The real victory comes June 2015. Congress passes the USA Freedom Act, ending the NSA's bulk phone collection program. International effects ripple outward. Brazil builds its own internet infrastructure to avoid US spying. Europe passes privacy laws with teeth, billion-dollar fines for violations. China and Russia use Snowden's revelations as propaganda. Tech companies play both sides. Publicly, they're outraged about NSA spying. Privately, they still comply with secret orders. Then comes vindication. September 2nd, 2020. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit rules the NSA's phone program was illegal. Always was. The judges go further. They say intelligence officials who defended it weren't telling the truth. Snowden tweets from Moscow, "I never imagined I'd live to see our courts condemn the NSA's activities as unlawful." The intelligence community's verdict is unanimous. Snowden is a traitor who damaged national security. Their evidence? Classified, of course. Trust us, they say. The same people who lied about WMDs in Iraq, who lied about torture, who lied about mass surveillance until Snowden proved they were lying. Today, Snowden lives somewhere in Moscow, has a Russian wife, a child, Russian citizenship he never wanted. He appears via encrypted video link at conferences, still charges no speaking fees, still believes he did the right thing, still can't come home without facing life in prison. The question that matters isn't whether Snowden is hero or traitor. The question is, do you have less privacy or more because of what he did? Speaking of unforgettable revelations, if you think the NSA story is wild, wait until you hear about the mysterious hackers who turned the agency's own weapons against the world. Unlike other whistleblowers, they stayed completely anonymous. auctioned off America's most classified cyber weapons to the highest bidder, and watched their stolen NSA tools trigger global chaos when ransomware attacks crippled hospitals, airports, and governments worldwide. That story? That's our previous video.